Hello and welcome to the Marriage Matters Podcast with your hosts, John and Dom. Listen, I'm John and Dom is not in the studio today. As promised, today I have some amazing men, some kings that's going to sit down with us and we're going to talk marriage, but from the male's perspective. So listen, today is Man Talk Edition. And so I'm super excited. I hope you guys have already liked, subscribed, and shared thus far. We're going to have an amazing time, an amazing discussion around the institution of marriage. So listen, go ahead and get ready. Let's dive into it. I'll see you on the other side. Yo, men.
Yo,
what's going on?
Yerk.
Yeah.
Hey, we in
here.
We in the building.
Yo, listen.
In the house.
In the house.
I'm
Literally.
so excited about this episode, man.
Yes, sir.
Man Talk Edition.
Let's
Man
do
talk.
it. Let's do it.
Right? We got some
First
king.
take.
First take, right? First take, only take.
Yep.
You know, we got the men in the building. You know, the ladies, they had their fun.
Yep.
Okay.
You know, y'all should have seen how they left here talking noise. Like, you know, y'all little episode gonna be whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all's
Like,
little episode.
right,
Y'all's
right,
little episode.
right. I'm like, nah, man. You know, the men, we gonna get some stuff
That's
done.
right. That's
Yeah.
right. We
Yeah,
got some
yeah.
stuff to
Yeah.
say.
We got something to say, right?
Just a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Little something.
Oh man, so listen, so thank y'all so much for being with us, man. We're gonna go ahead and jump into some intros.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I like letting people introduce themselves because can't nobody toot your horn like you.
Right.
Right. So let's start over here in the corner. Joe,
Yes, sir.
introduce yourself to the people, brother.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? I'm Joe. I've been married for 3 years. We're going on 4 years in August.
Okay.
I'm originally from Connecticut, moved to Birmingham for school, and that's where I met my wife. And now we live here in Mobile.
Nice.
Yeah.
Come on.
Sounds a little different, you know what I'm saying? But
What you do?
I'm a creative director. All
Creative
things
director.
creative.
All
Photo,
things.
video, motion graphics, all things creative.
Get it done.
The man.
Get her done.
Cool. No kids?
No kids.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Just
Not
keep
yet.
working, brother. That's the fun part.
That's the fun part.
I got a dog, so you know we going from faith to faith.
From faith to faith, right? We're gonna start with the dog first.
start with the-
We're gonna start with this dog.
Start with the dog.
Oh man.
Yep.
Like, hey, like Dre said, keep doing the work though. That's the fun part.
Yes, sir.
That's
Yeah.
the fun part. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
All right. Well, Mike, what's up, man?
Hey, what's happening? Michael Cozart.
Yeah.
I am married to my college sweetheart.
Nice.
30, let me go back. I've known her for 34 years. We started out, went to Grambling State University where everybody is somebody. We were in a class together, first semester. We didn't start dating until our senior year, which was in 94. And so we have like 2 anniversaries. So
Okay.
so January 28th is the day that I say that we began dating. February 14th is the day that she says that we started dating. So it was like, well, you didn't ask me to, to be your girlfriend. So I said, do I have to ask you, will you be my girlfriend? She was like, yeah. So I said, will you be my girlfriend? So yes. So we celebrate January 28th and February 14th.
Should get like
30
a 2 week
years.
intermission.
Man, that's good. You remember that.
Yeah.
Right,
so 30 years dating. It'll be 28 years in August.
Wow.
We have 2 children. And both of our children are graduating. Our daughter is graduating with her doctorate degree in physical therapy.
Nice.
May 18th. Our son is graduating high school May 11th, and we will be
Empty nesters.
Man,
praise
what?
him.
Let the good times roll.
We've already started, seeing how we want to do. So we've just got back from Atlanta this weekend, just like, okay, let's just like, hey,
Living your
That's
best
pretty
life
cool.
right now.
living
Living my
our
best
best.
life.
That's
life.
what's up, man.
So
Same grace. Hallelujah. Same grace one
Yeah.
day. I receive it.
That's it.
Same grace.
Yeah.
All right. Dre, let the people know who you are, my brother.
What's up, man? I'm Dre Reynolds, and I've been married for 15 years to my beautiful wife, and we got 3 daughters. I'm a girl dad.
Yeah.
So you don't make plans too soon, because I can ship some God kids to you
Yeah.
real
we've
quick.
done our part.
If you want that practice. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I can get
both
you that
of
work.
them, both of them. So I'm a realtor. Been a realtor for 6 years. I really, really enjoy doing that. Really, really enjoy helping people find their dream home and, make the best of their financial decisions when it comes to buying and selling. And I am a truancy officer, well, attendance officer.
Okay.
So, the people that don't send their kids to school, I come find them. And when you see me, it's not going to be good news. So I work for the school system as well. Been doing that for about 8 years. Absolutely love that as well. And it's just been a fun ride, man. Just enjoying meeting people and helping people however I can. And that's pretty much it. Just who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So, man, I have a great group of guys here with me to my Marriage Matters fam. And I hope y'all are ready for this discussion. Again, we're talking all things married.
Yep.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But we're going to talk about it from the male perspective. I feel that a lot of times marriage is talked about, but it's talked about either from singles, believe it or not. I see a lot of singles talking about marriage.
You're not lying.
And then I see a lot of couples talking about marriage, but you rarely see a group of married guys sit down and discuss the institution of marriage.
Right. Right.
And so I don't know if most people just don't believe that it's necessary. Maybe that person, that podcaster, maybe don't know enough good men that's doing the right thing in marriage to pull in.
Right.
But we're gonna break that up today.
Yeah.
Right?
Let's do it.
And so let's dive into it. First question is, I want to know, how was marriage introduced to you guys? What was your first view of marriage growing up, and how did that view of marriage shape your marriage and where you are today?
Okay.
Man, so let me go. I'll go. So, my parents weren't married,
Okay.
and I'm the youngest. I'm the youngest of 4 of my mother's children. My father was previously married, so he and his wife had 4 children, and then I don't know, divorced, and he met my mother. So I'm the youngest. My parents, so my father actually raised my older siblings. At 5, they split. My oldest brother went to college. They split up, and so went from a house to living in the projects. And man, so I'm 5, probably about 6. I was like, this sucks.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I want to be married. When I get married, so about 25, I'm gonna get married. I want to be married. I want to be married forever, and I want to have 2 kids. This is my thought process at 6, because I hated what I was feeling, and that was what I saw. I mean, that was my reality, and I just like.
Wow.
When I get 25, I want to be married, and I want to do this thing forever.
Wow.
Because at 6, this sucked.
So, like, although you didn't have the best experience growing up, it never tainted your view on the institution of marriage.
I know what I felt.
Yeah.
No, and funny, I never, and so as I get older, I never. So there were three families in my church, and about the 20-year mark, they broke up. And so that was key to me. It's like 20, these families they're good, and at 20 years, 20-ish. And so I was like, man. So I don't really recall. There were a couple of successful marriages that I saw, but those were key.
Yeah.
And so, man, that was just like, for me, that was real.
Right.
And so, so the dynamic for us is, like for us, it was like, man, just being married, because my when I looked around, I didn't see. I didn't see
it.
I didn't see
You
it.
didn't have an example in front of you, and it's crazy you say that because I feel like a lot of guys are married today because they wanted to be married,
Yeah.
but there was no example
Yeah.
in front of them.
Wow.
And it's like, what do you do with that as a man when you just trying to figure out this journey of marriage and there was no example in front of
Right.
you? What does that man do, Dre? I didn't have an example, but here it is. I'm like, I'm married. I know I want to be married. I love my wife, but it seems like I keep messing up. And the only thing I can think of is it's because I didn't have an example.
Wow.
Man, for me, so I had my parents. My parents were married. I'm the youngest of 4 siblings. So it was something that I desired. For that guy that does not have that, you got to find somebody that you can imitate. You got to find somebody that you desire to look at and admire from a distance and watch how they handle and how they treat their spouse. Because that's the key. I mean, we gonna mess up.
Absolutely.
But there's somebody out there that have traveled down that same road that you're going on. And you got to find somebody that's willing to show you, and even somebody that you can watch from a distance. But the key is, we see so many people that don't value marriage, and too many people hang their hats on their relationships on those type of situations.
Talking
and those,
good, brother.
and that's not the example that we are to follow. Like, I can't look at a Beyonce or Jay-Z and say I want my marriage to be like that, because you can tell, like, they don't serve the same God that I serve. Right. You know what I'm saying? They don't follow the same pattern that Paul was talking about. Imitate those that have
exactly.
Those are the ones that that stuck in there, that hung in there, good times and bad times. You know what I'm saying? That are willing to say, this is what we did. Here's how we got through it. And like some of the things, like in my household, you learn what not to do. You know what I'm saying? And that's sometimes that's the best lesson, instead of having that conversation where it's like, well, here's what you do when you get married, son. Like, I didn't have that, you know what I'm saying? But, I was able to see, once I got married, I can't do this like this. You know what I'm saying? I can't talk to my wife like that. And so, for that person out there that's struggling or looking, you got to find somebody that you admire, that's God-fearing.
Okay.
And that's a man that walks in authority and power and leadership. And, for like, when I was 14, we did this project. I grew up in church. Okay. So when I was about 14, we did this project in our youth group, and they were like, find some people that you admire and look up to. So even then, I honored marriage, and I wanted to find a man that loved his wife and that loved his family. Definitely. So I found two guys, and one of them was my cousin, and the other guy was still in touch today. And I told them, hey, I'm watching y'all. At 14, I said, I'm watching y'all. And the impact that made on their lives was crazy. Like,
wow.
They didn't realize people were watching them, especially a young guy that was striving to be them and be like them, love their wife, love their family and stuff like that. And so, when you get that, you got to live every day like somebody's watching.
I like that.
Wow.
Know that the impact that you're making every day, loving your wife, doing your job, those things matter. Even if you don't be moved by the crowd, you be moved by your family, and that's what drives me, to continue to do what I do and love my family the way I do, because it's not easy, but it's worth it.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
So I like that, and so it kind of takes me to my next question, and Joe, if you can take this one.
Yeah.
So we're talking to that guy just now about, hey, finding someone that you can glean from, right? And so, Joe, how important is community and accountability as a man when it comes to marriage? Because you got a lot of brothers who feel like, I'm gonna go this journey by myself.
Right.
I I do a lot of marriage counseling, premarital counseling, and a lot of times it's the wives that's calling saying, "Can we come sit down with you?" And then when I say, "Okay, what does your husband say?" They say, "Well, he said, can no man tell him nothing."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, like, help me help you, right?
Right.
But kind of speak to that, Joe. How important has a community and accountability being to you when it comes to marriage?
So especially with me being young, I really feel like it's been vital for me. I don't think accountability and community was necessarily like growing up. Like it was definitely talked about, but in terms of like modeled, I can't really say my parents had friends, my dad had friends, but in terms of like seeing those moments take place, not really so much. So going to college and then getting married, especially us being young, like, and then moving to Mobile, now it's a whole new space, a whole new world with, you know, people I don't really know. It really at first like felt like I was out on an island. And so for me, the community piece was like crucial. So much so where my friend EJ, he's a friend of ours, but he's a worship pastor out in Jacksonville. He called me maybe like 3 weeks ago and was like, "Look, I'm trying to get more community," because he was in the same space, married, young, feeling that, you know, that need and kind of feeling like he's out on the island. He needs to connect with other people that are in the similar boat as him. And so he was like, "Hey man, would you be like down to like," because we already talked, me and you are in relationship. I got another guy here in the city, same thing. He's in the same boat as us. He was like, "I'm just trying to build community. Would you be opposed to us like starting a group chat and, you know, building a community basically for us three?" And so it's little moments like that where it's like, it's the reassurance, like you're not out here by yourself in terms of the community. You're not here out by yourself. You're not here alone. You don't have to do this by yourself. You have other people around you that can share, right? And then to the accountability piece, I just think, I don't know. I just think especially for like us who are younger, like it's getting to the point where it's like a lot of people have the attitudes like you said, like you can't tell me none. Like who are you to, you know, and what you gonna be in my business for? But I feel like if you're the only one who knows your secrets, you're in danger.
Oh yeah,
That's good.
That's right where the enemy really wants you.
Yeah.
And so we need to find those trust, and I'm really passionate about it because it was accountability for me that's really changed my life. Getting honest and open and putting words to some of this stuff, and getting the right minds and the right people with the right hearts around just some of the stuff that we go through.
Right.
And it's scary at first, but it's actually freeing in the long run. So just being able to have those individuals, we got to break that mindset.
Definitely. I think too, as men, you know, we can think that we always right.
Right.
Right. We can think that my way is the way.
Yeah.
The truth and the light. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes down to having accountability partners, we have people now that we can bounce
Right.
that scenario off of.
Yeah.
I could call Mike and be like, "Yo, man, I was talking to my wife, man, and she said this and I said this, and now you can, I may be feeling right about it, but he can come back and say, well, oh, that's how it happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro, you were wrong.
Right. Right.
You were wrong."
Yeah.
And I don't think we have enough, bro, you were wrong moments. I don't think we have enough men that are open
Right.
to bro, you are wrong moments.
I think we have a lot more, bro. No way. Really?
Yeah.
She said that? Really? What you going to, like, we have more of those. But like you said, like not enough relationships where people could be like, no, hold up. No, you were actually,
You were wrong.
you were wrong.
And so, like, has either one of you, like, through marriage, ever had to check one of your brothers? Check, one of the guys that is called, and again, they think they're right. They think, hey, this is how I handle this situation, or this is what I'm thinking about doing. And once it got to you, it was like, nah, bro, like, I got to call you out on that. I don't want you ever been in that type of scenario.
I haven't, because this whole opening up thing is new to me.
Okay.
And it's new because as black men, we've been taught to take care of it, or be quiet, or you just don't share it. You know? So it hadn't, for me, it hadn't got to that point to where I can say, bro, you were wrong. Right. Because I haven't been open for anybody to say it to me. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm open to it now. You know, and I understand the power that comes with that community and being open and being honest. But I welcome it now. You know, because I didn't want that mirror in front of me.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't want that, bro, you were wrong. Even when my wife does it, you know, I don't want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear it. And so, but now, you know, I'm in therapy. I got a therapist.
Come on.
And I'm open to the fact that I don't get it right all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And, you know, it's just me trying to do the right thing. Sometimes it's the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And but no, I haven't had that moment where, you know, I could share with another brother. You know?
I've had the moment where I got checked.
Right.
You know, by our mentor, CJ and Amanda Blunt. Like they're literally like, they're our mentors. They're like, when it comes to our marriage, they're the ones that really, from when I was single and I first moved to Birmingham, CJ was the first guy that I connected with, and he helped me just develop as a man. And then when I first started throwing out his way, with him being my mentor, throwing out his way that I was interested in Kyra, he like walked me and us through that process all the way to marriage and even past it now.
Nice.
He's the one who did our premarital counseling and stuff. When, you know, things get rough, he's the one that we call. And he's had to come out and like, and literally say, no, whoa.
Right.
Type, you know, like you need to reconsider. Maybe you don't need to, you know, go in it like that, you know.
Right.
No, you need to apologize. Like, he's the one that's kind of been, especially with us being younger, you know, navigating some of those rough seasons early on. Like, he's still the one that kind of, you know, speaks into our space.
Gotcha. So let's just say you don't have that person. You don't have that accountability person that you can kind of lean on. It's a two-part question. I'll start with you, Brother Mike. Like how important, how influential, if you would, has your relationship with God been as it pertains to marriage? And the second part of that question, do you even believe that you have to have a relationship with God to have a successful marriage?
So I'm gonna answer part 2 first. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't think, especially in this culture, I don't think you could be married. I don't think you can have a successful marriage and not have God.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can live together, not be married, and it can be great. It can be cool, and not have God, and then you get married and be like. Phew. So I think God. You have to have God in your relationship if it's going to be successful, and I think God. So I'm gonna go back to the first question. So I've been on both sides. So I've had to check. Well, I've had to check a friend, and I've been checked by a friend.
Yeah.
And so, and I think God is having a God relationship, a God conscience, having a relationship with God, having a God conscience, and wanting to do the right thing. It's big in a relationship, because if I'm gonna love my wife as Christ loved the church, and I'm a man, and I this is my house, and I am the man, and you gonna follow my rules at the way we've been taught. You know, we've been taught terrible, you know, and it's been passed down.
Yeah.
And so, that relationship with God puts it back in, it puts everything back, because if I'm gonna love you as Christ loved the church, Christ gave for the church. I listened to some old Miles Monroe, man, and you think, it's, I don't know,
He's a monster,
10
man.
years.
He's a monster.
He's been gone, but that wisdom still.
Oh, it still remains.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, you got to get you together first.
Right. Yeah.
You got to get right. You got to do. So I think God is, man. I have, without God, I would not be married now.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah.
He ain't lying.
Without God,
Yeah.
I would not be married now. And I got to keep God so I can stay married.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's real though. That's
is.
real.
That is.
I mean, so, I think many people are trying to remain married without God.
Yeah.
And that's why they keep facing divorce.
It's hard to be married with God.
Let's be honest. Yeah.
It's hard to be married with God. I've been in church all my life.
Right.
Yeah.
I only know one couple that I saw. So I know other in my environment, I know one couple that remained married from a child on, and they were 40 years, and it was and he recently passed. If I go back and look, every couple that I knew, I'm talking about from as a child, like pastors and men. These three couples that were 20 years, they were all in church. These were all church folk. So, I mean, I know one couple, 40 years, that I saw growing up. Now, as I got older, yeah, I know other couples. But growing up, man, I know one couple married.
Just one. And so I kind of want to chime into that because one couple, that was the image before you, right? And so now we're talking about, so we start out with the question of what was the image before you? Now we're on how important is the relationship with God, and do you need him to have a successful marriage? Those two things for me tie right into each other, because even if there wasn't an image before you growing up, your relationship with God becomes your image.
Absolutely.
You get what I'm saying? Your
That's really
relationship becomes that model now.
Yeah.
And now he walks marriage through with you. He talks with you and he shows you what to do and what not to do.
Right.
And so, it's not good enough just to say, well, I didn't have a daddy.
Yeah.
Like, you got to get that excuse off the table. That's why my marriage shortened, because I ain't have a daddy.
Yeah.
I didn't have an image. Well, all of that was out of your control. But you can control if you have a relationship with God.
Absolutely.
That's the one thing you can control.
Yeah.
And now you can pick up that relationship, and now you can begin to look to him as the father you never had.
Right.
And say, God, now how am I supposed to do this marriage thing your way?
Yeah.
Right? But again, many of us would just, as men, we would rather major on the fact of what we didn't have and use that as justification of our wrong actions in our marriage.
Yeah.
So PJ,
Go ahead.
I didn't have that. And so by the time I saw my father as Candyman. And so by the time I was mature enough to be able to establish a relationship with my father, he died. So, and I'm 20. So as I get married, as I'm in school, I met my girlfriend, I don't have a father. And so I really thought, marriage, I just thought problems work themselves out. And I don't know if it's an excuse. I think it can be an excuse, but I just didn't know. I mean, and I'm 28 years, so I'm sitting back, I'm like, man, I just didn't know. And I think, and so the God thing is so big because, you be not conformed to this world, but be transformed. So our mind has to be transformed. We have to have a transformed and renewed mind going into marriage. Yeah. Particularly with everything that we've done or saw or heard, unless you grew up in a household where you saw a healthy marriage, I think you have to shed some stuff because it's hard.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think we can use it. I think it can be an excuse, but I think sometimes that's really real.
Right. It's your reality.
For me, that was I didn't. I may have probably used it as I may have used it sometime, but for the most part, that was my reality. I'm
Right.
winging this thing.
Right. So you said something. You said that you just got into marriage and you thought that marriage works itself out. Like, well, these problems are gonna take care of themselves,
Just work
right?
itself out.
And so let's shift. Let's talk about kind of communication for a minute. Dre, I want you to take this question for me. What about that husband who's just saying, you know what, I'm not a talker. I ain't got nothing to say. Or when something arises in the house, they shut down, they're quiet. And the woman, she want to hear something, like, give me something, but like he's just quiet. He out in the garage, he on the back porch, he in his man cave. He ain't got nothing to say.
Right.
Right. So you've been married 15 years?
15.
Right. And so I'm sure in those 15 years, there's been a time that you were that I ain't got nothing to say kind of husband.
Oh man. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah, man. So, and this is one of the bad habits I picked up and still to this day struggle with. Communication is so vital. Communication is the air that we breathe in marriage, other than prayer, which that's still communication too. But man, your relationships live and die on communication. And so if you that brother that's just out there struggling, thinking that everything is gonna work itself out, and you got a wife that loves to talk, like my wife, she's a talker. And
No, not deep.
Oh yeah. So I'm kind of, when I'm out in the public, I can talk to you all day. When I get home, I'm quiet, and it should be the other way around. I should be talking to my family to death. But that creates a huge problem when you get home and you're quiet, and you don't have anything to say to your wife. You don't know how to address her, and that was me. Like she just wanted me to talk, open up. Like, what are you thinking? And it's weird. She asked so many questions, and I'm like, man, why am I getting interrogated? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is going on? But that's just how her mind works, and she's just trying to put the pieces together, and it's almost like she's pulling on me, like. And she would explain to me, like, you're wearing me out. Just why do I have to ask all these questions? And so in my mind, I'm like, look, I answered yes or no. Like, what else do you want?
That gotta be good enough.
And I'm like, I'm just not detailed like that. I don't know. Like, what do you want to know? I woke up this morning at 8:10. I brushed my teeth when stuff like that. But she like, yeah, tell me all of that.
Right.
And I'm like, man, you really want to know that? But she really want to know that. Yeah. And so, if I deny her of that need, that puts a wall up between us. Yeah. And it's like, where she's just every day just trying to knock this wall down. By the end of the day, she's worn out, just trying to talk to me and get to know me in a more intimate way. And see, I didn't realize that that's intimacy.
Ooh, hold on. Say it again, Jay.
I didn't realize that having a conversation with my wife was intimacy.
You mean to tell me intimacy ain't just lingerie and wham bam, thank you, ma'ams?
No, it ain't.
You mean us sitting down talking?
Yep.
No.
And me asking you how your day was?
No.
That's intimacy?
Yeah.
Ooh, help the people.
Wow.
It's more than just dropping them draws. It's more than
Help the
that,
people.
But it's maturity and it's grown folks. Just being able to have a really good conversation with your wife and seeing her smile because you decided to open up and release some things to her that you hadn't shared with anybody. Even though y'all may talk all day, but when you get home, there's still something that she's requiring of you. And that communication portion is so vital. And one guy I heard, even my wife have said this, when you shut down, I think Pastor V said it, when you shut down or when you deny, that's verbal abuse. That's a form of abuse because you're denying her of a need that she desires. And you may wonder, hey, why you on the phone all day? Well, why you in the backyard all day? You feel what I'm saying? Like, why are you under that car? Come talk to me. Come get to know me on a level that you've never known me.
Wow.
And that's what I'm learning. That's the beautiful part about marriage is every single day I get to experience her on another level in communication. And yeah, it's a stretch. it's a push for me every day because I'm not that guy that will romance her through conversation.
Right.
But I'm learning. You know what I'm saying?
day.
I'm learning every day, every conversation. Man, I try to make the most of it because I know she enjoys it.
Yeah.
And that's where, that breathes life into our marriage. That breathes life into our communication.
Yeah. It's so crazy that you say that because I feel that a lot of men have that struggle.
Yeah.
It's like we lead in our homes with provision. And provision is an attribute
Right.
of who we are as man.
Yeah.
That's not our identity.
Right.
That's just something that we do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you got most men out here and they're thinking like, man, that's how I communicate to my wife. Like, I work, I take care of these bills, I take care of this house. But like emotionally, bro, you disconnected though.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And I know a lot of brothers that's divorced and they were great providers. I know men that are divorced and they were amazing protectors.
Wow. Yeah.
But so, you were majoring on attributes of you, but your identity though.
Wow.
Who are you as man?
Right.
Like there was an emotional disconnect there. Right. And so it just kind of made me think about like in the beginning, how Adam and God walked in the cool of the day.
Yeah.
They met there, they communed. Right. And so that's that relationship component. Although God was responsible for provision and protection, but he still had the emotional connection with Adam. And so I think that's what we're forgetting to have with our spouses as men sometimes. Yeah, we know we're responsible for providing and for protecting, being the priest, prophet, and protector and provider over our house. Yeah, those are attributes though of who we are. But like, where's the relationship component?
Right.
Right? You go ahead. You should say something, Mike.
See, I don't think that, and I don't think that was taught.
Yeah.
And again, so Joe, you think you said you're
25.
So Joe has the fortunate opportunity to be taught some or given tools that me as a 52-year-old man didn't get.
Yeah. Yeah. I get that. Yeah.
Because, if I look at the way, men don't cry, men don't this, men don't that, men don't this, you don't, I remember older men saying, you don't tell your wife everything. You don't talk to your wife about this. You don't do this. You don't do that. And man, I have some terrible, not even wisdom. I got some terrible advice from old men.
Right.
And old women. I got some terrible advice from older people. And so, and I think nowadays we're in an era where, like what you just said was profound. That was so profound. And I was like, okay, is this his wife, my sisters? Is his wife and my wife talking? Because my wife says that. Because it's like we got to communicate. And so, I think, so Joe can have a long-term successful marriage listening to wisdom now that just wasn't handed down.
Yeah. Yeah. More is caught to talk.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I believe though, that's kind of where most men, that's where we need to be. Not most men, all men, that's where we need to be. Although it wasn't passed down, like, are you putting yourself in the right community?
Yeah.
That you can get that information? Are you listening to the right podcasts, and are you sitting under the right man or woman of God that can impart that wisdom and that guidance into you, right? Because again, everybody didn't have the best example,
Right.
right? And so, so let's go here for a moment. As a man, we all have doubts and fears, right? We all have doubts and fears. But do you think that our wives see those doubts and fears as weaknesses, right? And what's the best way to express them to our wives? We all have doubts and fears. And so I wanted to throw this question in, man, because a lot of time as men, I think you mentioned it earlier, we bottle stuff in, man.
Right.
And like, we think we got to be Superman to our women. And that's not, if you sit down and talk with your wife, that's not what she really expects. Mm-hmm. She knows that you're human.
Right.
Right? So we all have doubts and fears. And so do you think that our wives view that as a weakness? And what's the best way to express our doubts and fears to our wives?
Well, for me, I don't think that my wife look at my doubts and fears as a weakness. She will look at the fact that I didn't communicate that to her as a weakness, because she realizes that I'm human and that I will have some things that challenge me. And she's mainly looking at, okay, how will he respond to this challenge?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because, will he trust God in this moment?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Will he really show us what faith looks like?
Right.
And so I don't think that she will look at that as a weakness, but she's more so searching like, okay, can he get over this fear? Can he understand what it really means to have faith at the weakest moment of his maybe career, or the weakest moment of our relationship, So, I don't think she would look at it as, a weakness.
Okay, so what I'm hearing you say, though, is it's how you don't handle it that she views
Right.
as a weakness.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think, once she get a good understanding of what the fear and doubt is, she don't let me walk through it alone.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it, let's pray about it, let's get through this together. So she takes on whatever I got, and together we overcome.
That's good.
Yeah.
And that's been how we have done it, in the past. But it's nothing that it's nothing that we can't get through together as long as we communicate it.
That's good.
Yeah. Joe, you were gonna say something.
Well, I think I was trying to piece it together, but you just beautifully communicated it. I think it becomes an issue. I don't think my wife has a problem, with the doubts and fear thing.
Right.
I think it just becomes sus to her, like when I don't communicate it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because, again, I think that speaks to the whole like intimacy, vulnerability thing. Mm-hmm. And so, like, if I'm not willing to kind of be vulnerable with my wife in that space, what could happen is I could try to overcompensate.
Right. Right.
And then I start trying to take it on by myself. I got it. Don't worry about it. Whole time I'm really, shook about this thing.
Right. Right.
And I bet you that the thing that, I would be worried about or, nervous about or fearful about, it could be the very thing. She might have an answer for that thing. She might have another perspective for that thing. But because I'm not willing to open up that space to her, you know what I'm saying? I'm out there by myself as opposed to fighting it and addressing it together. We come into partnership on it.
Right.
So.
I believe that when we don't express our concerns, our fears, and things like that to our wives, I believe we are robbing them of being able to operate in their original created state.
Wow.
Absolutely.
The reason I say that is because she was created to be a helpmeet. So if you don't tell me where you're struggling, if you don't tell me what you are afraid of, you're robbing me of the opportunity to put my hands to something and help.
Yeah.
So you're robbing me of my opportunity to operate in my original created state as a woman.
Yeah.
And so here it is, your silence about your fears now have her feeling unfulfilled.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Man. Yeah.
Like,
definitely.
and so as y'all talking, I'm just kind of hearing, I'm like, ooh, like that's heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so here it is now. You mean to tell me not communicate my fears can make my wife feel unfulfilled? Yeah. Because you're not giving her that area so she can put her hands to and help it.
Yeah.
Because that's what she's created to do. Help.
Yep.
I wonder how many problems, I mean, you do marriage counseling, so you probably better know, but how many problems like actually result in the marriage. Now I'm speaking from the man's side, like that we did wrong. When you get to the root of it, it was because I was nervous, or because I was fearful, or because I was scared, and I just didn't know how to communicate that. Do you see that a lot?
I see it a lot. I see it a lot because as a man, we're fixers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I got it. I got that. I got that. Right. And so how many problems are present in our marriage today that when they initially showed up, we had a I got this in our mind, but we never took it to our wife because we were worried about how she was going to receive it, if she was going to view me as weak.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like, you know, and so like I think that a lot of men marry this I got it type of mindset, not realizing, man, that our wives are much stronger than what we think they are.
Absolutely.
Man. That's one thing I've learned. Like I've learned that my wife is much stronger than what I give her credit for sometimes.
Yeah.
And you know, I feel like I take on things that I believe had I given it to her, it would have took her a day to take care of, and what took me weeks to handle.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we so now let's go to being chauvinistic.
Oh,
So she's the weaker vessel,
yeah.
and I heard Miles Monroe say, really, when you think about it, the woman is really stronger. She has to submit. She has to take on. She's really stronger than what. She may be even stronger than us.
Yeah.
Because she has to bear some stuff that we don't. She has to. I mean, man, that when God made woman, he did it.
He did his
That-
good work.
I mean, and it's she's a helpmeet. And a good woman, man, a godly woman, can just change the whole. Man, it's nothing like having a godly woman. I mean, because that was the first question. Everything that these guys have said, everything we've talked about is having that godly woman.
Yeah.
That can submit and know and pray and do the things. Man, it's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
It's really an awesome thing when you have that.
You know, but I do feel that, you know, we got some listeners, man, and you know, I understand your marriage is where it is right now. But when you talk about having that godly woman, I feel that we have a lot of men, though, that don't know how to handle that godly woman. That don't know how to, and you know, it's. I'm not saying that the godly woman is you know upfront and she's boastful and she's prideful and she's trying to run the house, but like I feel like sometimes as men we make the mistake of not allowing them to be the woman that they are trying to be and that they need to be in the marriage. Like we want to hold them back, if you would. Like let them lead the house. See, you mentioned the weaker vessel. And so when it comes to that scripture about the woman being the weaker vessel, I think as men, we kind of mess up that revelation. But this is, I'll share my revelation of that scripture with you guys. When I think about a weaker vessel, if I have a glass of water and a cup of water, I drop both, which one breaks?
The glass.
Glass.
Okay, the glass. Did they both have the capacity to hold liquid?
Right. Yes.
Did they both have liquid in them? The only difference was what was holding the liquid was weaker, right? And that's how I view that scripture. As man, my makeup, my frame is stronger. Her frame is softer, but what's on the inside, it's the same thing.
It's the same. Yeah.
Right.
It's good.
And so, granted, she's just a weaker vessel. And when I have an understanding that that's a me, but in weaker vessel, I have no problem partnering with that godly woman. I have no problem with letting her lead in areas that I know she's stronger in.
Yeah. Right.
Because again, she's just a me in a strong in a weaker vessel. She's not a weaker. She's not a weaker person. She's just a me in a weaker vessel.
Yeah.
So let me chime in right here. So when I started in real estate, it took me a minute to get going, and eventually God just really blessed it where I was able to really get good at it. And when I realized I was good at it, you make money. You know what I'm saying? we have had a ton of money flow through our account, you know, and it's only by God's grace. In my being a man and in my I got this stages, we lost a lot of money because I didn't let her lead in the finances.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? She's so much better at finances than I am. I mean, when I say better, she knows the money down to the penny.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and it was like, what you swiping? Why you swiping this? And what? And I'm just like, man, listen, this ain't working. You know? But once Holy Spirit began to speak to me and help me to understand, like, yo, she got this. And in her having this, she got you. You know what I'm saying? So let her do her job. So what I was really doing was denying the gift to flow in her and through her. And that wrecked our house financially. Now I'm trying to recover what I messed up when she had it the whole time. You know what I'm saying? And so for the guys out there that got that I got it man mindset, if she's better at the budgeting and finance, let her do it.
Let that woman budget them books.
Man. and it took so much pressure off of me.
Yeah.
I don't have to prove that I'm a man because I know where the money flows.
Yeah.
She got it. That is me in her doing the work. You know what I'm saying? That's my wife, you know? And it took me a long time and a lot of losses to realize, man, look, Holy Spirit is working through her. Y'all on the same team. Let it work together. And that's, I mean, you know, that was just a hard, costly lesson that I had to learn. Man. Golly, just ignorance.
Oh man. Okay. So you said you had to learn that she was better at finances and you had to let her run with that.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Now, so Joe, let me ask you this question. Let's talk about gender roles for a moment.
Okay.
Right? Okay, well, I'm gonna put it this way. Is your house governed by gender roles? And what do you believe are some pros and cons of gender roles? Because like a lot of guys, like, you know, hey, I grew up and my mama did this, and so you need to be in the house cooking, but hold on, your mama didn't work. So you want this woman to work a 9 to 5 along with you and still maintain your gender roles.
Yeah.
Right? And so, you know, do y'all run...
No, not necessarily. And I think, well, let me just say it like this. Like growing up, like I had both parents in my household. I'm adopted, but both my parents grew up, whatever, saw a really good, really healthy version of marriage. But in terms of like the role assignments, we kind of had that. Like, and I don't know if it was because my parents are older, so I don't know if that was something that was passed down from their parents, or it was the fact that my mom was just a stay-at-home mom and my dad was the one that went out to work and stuff. But there was more of those more assigned roles. Like, and so, but at the same time now, actually me putting words to it, my mom did still help my dad with like yard work and stuff like that. But there were still like some assigned things. Like he only did this, you know, she only did that. So coming into marriage, during our premarital counseling, we had to kind of have like conversations around that. And I was just I was open to it or whatever. I don't think I was concrete in it. I was open to it, but it was still a conversation, you know, that we had. But now in our household now, I wouldn't necessarily say we have like gender roles. We kind of approach our house kind of as a team, like in a way, like we both clean. No, I do take out the trash. It's like she don't touch the trash. But for the most part, like we tackle things together, I would say. Yeah. But I mean, the pros and cons, I guess, like if you're talking about like that chivalry thing, like there's some things that I think like the man should, you know, handle. Yeah. Like I don't think women necessarily need to be taking the trash to the curb. Yeah. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. Every day. But I mean, I think, this is just my opinion, I think it's most healthy when we just attack it together. Yeah. Right. We approach the home as a team. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you think when it comes to gender roles, or just roles and responsibility in general in the house, you say you approach it as a team. Do you think it's also important to approach it based off of, because this is what I teach in premarital marital counseling, and so I kind of want to get your guys' view on it. Do you believe that the best way to approach roles and responsibilities in the house is based off of strengths and availability? And what I mean by that is we talk about So I recall one time, my wife was at home on the grill, and I was sitting in the dance parking lot waiting for my daughter to get out of dance practice. And most people would think that's so backwards. You need to be at home on the grill. She need to be picking your daughter up from dance practice.
Yeah.
But I remembered that day specifically that worked for our availability that day. Schedule wise, that's what worked
Yeah.
for the Robinson household.
Right.
And so I believe that when it comes to roles and responsibilities, they are assigned based off of strengths. Who's a stronger person to do that? Like you said, finances. You know what I'm saying? Who's the stronger person at finances? And then who has the time to do that?
Yeah.
What's y'all's take on that?
Go ahead.
I'm chewing over what you just said. I kind of agree. Like, to me, that makes the most sense. Like, especially like when it comes to the like the strengths piece, because what's to say, like, okay, just go with me here for a sec. Like, let's just say like she's the one who cleans. What happens if she's sick?
Yeah.
What you gonna do then? You're just gonna let the house get dirty?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna clean because that's your job. Like,
We're gonna be in this nasty house until your fever break.
dirty, dusty house. Okay, and then you're gonna get sick. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, like, when you were speaking to that strength piece, like, I think that's why I kind of go back to the whole team mentality. Because if I'm team, like, it doesn't necessarily. We have our positions, but I'm not too varsity that I can't drop to, JV and help out. Or I'm not too offensive minded that I can't swap and play cornerback if I need to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think a lot of that goes back to era and generation. Because generationally, the house would just be dirty till you get better.
Yeah.
Generationally, let's go there. I mean, that's just the way things were. I think we've, and so I think, I think generationally, I think that's how it kind of goes. But I think you have to look at strengths and avail. I don't know, because I'm kind of in between. I'm probably a lot of gender roles. Like, we were out to we were in Atlanta a couple of weeks ago. It was raining, and so I'm when I drive, I drop my wife at the front door.
Yeah.
I want to drop at the front door, and so it was raining, and so we were out with some relatives, and so some of them were walking to go to their car. I walked to go get the car. And I turn around, my wife is walking. I'm like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
I was like, "What are you doing? That's not how we roll. I go get the car for you. Don't do that." And so she was like, so later on that weekend, she was like, "You know what? I'm sorry. I took that for granted." Wow. So I think some things like, I think, like it bothered, like when we walking on the outside. So if we're outside, I think a man should be on the outside.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so we're walking. If we're going places, I'll be turning. I'll go over here because I'm on the outside, and I'll go over here. But because I think that's just the way. And I think like chivalry, the whole chivalry is it's like
it's missing. It's absent.
And for a woman. So my wife, if I'm gone out of town, so before I leave, I'm filling up the gas tank because my wife does not look at gas. Why? My wife does not look at the gas tank.
Oh man.
My wife can't tell you what gas costs. Why? Because that's what I do.
Yeah.
And so if I'm gone, I have to remind her. Or she's like, "Well, my son will go." It's just some things I think that a woman, like taking out the trash. And so now we're older, and so my wife cooked now. She cooked raising the kids. She was that. Now it's like, baby, and so she was like, kids are going out. I'm like, I'm not cooking. I don't want to cook, And so we have this. Okay, well, I'll cook maybe one day. I've got to the point I'm loving to cook now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm loving to cook.
Yeah.
And so she's probably got tired of me. I start cooking Thanksgiving. I was cooking for one period. I was cooking greens and cabbage every Sunday because I'm like, I want a good meal. And so she was like, okay, you know what? I'm tired of greens and cabbage. Cook something else. But I think we have to. I think some things, and I'll say this. I think like women in the workforce, it's a hard thing because. I think it's a hard thing for women in the workforce, especially in leadership, because it's hard for them to almost. I think sometimes women, so like Oprah, no kids, and so she sacrificed marriage, kids to be Oprah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what has she had to endure? She's had to endure a whole lot as a woman. Could she have been Oprah if she was married and had kids?
Right.
And it's like and I'm not saying I don't think women can be in the workforce, but I think when they're in certain positions, it's hard for women to maintain that who they are, that nurturing and that loving in some of those workspaces.
I think too. Well, so just kind of what I'm hearing you say with that, it's important then because we're all married, right? And we're talking to married men, and so it's important for us as married men to make sure that we are weight bearers.
Yeah.
That we are supportive in a way that the woman can be the woman. And although she faces some of those oppositions that you were kind of mentioning, that she knows that she have a support system in us. And I'm actually kind of really glad that you went there because I think a lot of times I know a lot of men who make the mistake of receiving the support, but not giving the support. Just because her creative state was help me, it's like, make sure you help my vision, you help my idea, make sure you support my dream, but are we reciprocating that as men? What do you think about that, Jay? Are we reciprocating that as men?
No, I don't. I don't think so. I know for me, back, it's been maybe about 8 to 10 years ago. So my wife had a desire to help single women, and at the time I was in ministry, and we had a very young family, and the timing, it was really bad.
Yeah.
And I say it was bad because one, I was young, I was in ministry, working, and just didn't have that maturity to understand what her desires and her dreams were. So when she brought them to the table, I rejected it and didn't support them.
Yeah.
And that left her scarred for years. And now she's able to really jump off and do her thing. But it took a lot of hurt and pain that I put her through to get to this point where she is. And now looking back, man, for any person out there, any man, it's important first to listen.
Yeah.
To understand what your wife is desiring. Understand that her dreams are your dreams.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just like she took on the responsibility of carrying the weight and making sure that she put you out front, to reach your dreams and your goals. You have to understand that you have to do the same thing for her. Wow. And that's what now I realize, look, whatever I can do to support her, whatever I can do to put her on a pedestal or on my platform or on my shoulders to let her see, yo, I got your back.
Yeah.
When nobody else is in the crowd cheering, look at me. I'm your cheerleader.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I had to understand what that meant to support. Okay. Because I was always looking for support, but I didn't know what a supporter looked like.
I think that mindset kind of has to shift, right? Because I think one of the biggest revelations that I got in terms of our marriage was just like getting to the place where I'm looking to give more than I can take? Like, how can I give in this moment as opposed to take in this moment?
Yeah.
So if I'm always looking to be supported, I'm taking rather than looking, how can I be a help or how can I be of support? How can I give in this moment? And I think back to when you asked that question, my mind immediately went back to that question you asked about, can we love like without a relationship like with God? And I don't think so, because you're only gonna I can't give you something that I don't have. So if I don't have a revelation of love from the Father and what that means for me, I can't then properly, give that to my spouse.
Right.
Naturally, we are takers. Selfish.
Yeah.
From a baby, that's mine. No, you can't play with my toy. And we grow into that as selfish adults. And so when we take this person that have been raised in this household with this mindset, connected with this person that have been raised across the track, and they think totally different, but some kind of way along the journey, they got married. Now you got these two households, two individuals, two mindsets clashing with one another, you know what I'm saying? And now you're trying to, it's a tug of war. I'm not sacrificing.
Yeah.
You ain't sacrificing. And so we take that mindset where marriage is 50-50. That is the biggest lie that we've ever been told. Marriage have never been 50-50.
Never been 50-50.
You know what I'm saying? So when we take on roles and gender roles or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Man, look, I'm at Walmart buying pads.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I know what size it is. I know what brand she
I
likes.
just got laughed at Walmart because I'm on FaceTime with my wife.
Man,
And she's like,
come on.
Go to this. And I'm like, what am I looking for? And they were like, you married, aren't you? I said, yeah. And I said, I don't know what I'm doing.
You better get them with wings.
Don't forget the wings.
Right.
And so, man, it's like, man, you got to be real. I don't care if you laughing at me. I got a wife at home.
I got a wife.
You know what I'm saying? And I ain't no child. I love loving my wife.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, I'm finna go get them pads. Whatever. I took her to get her feet done. Man, it's stuff like that I'm learning to appreciate, that she appreciates. And the more I do it, the more I'm able to break down this beautiful puzzle that God has put before me to love, to cherish, to support, to honor, to respect. All of those things that I desire, respect, honor, those things have to be given so that I can receive them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because women give a lot.
They do.
So when you marry, she takes your name. So she takes your name, and then when you have children, sometimes her dreams get put on the back burner.
Absolutely.
Wow. For your kids.
For your kids.
kids.
Let's talk about it all up.
Yeah.
And we just keep on going. And so we have to be mature enough to understand that. And that's revelation from God.
Man, that's real maturity.
You hold on one second, bro, Michael. Let's go back to that M word. That M word you just said. We got to be what? Mature enough. Wow. And so I believe, though, a part of the problem that we're having in most marriages.
Come on.
With most marriages.
Say it. We
got a lot of immature men.
Boys.
Truth be told.
We got a lot of boys that's married. And listen, when I say that, I ain't throwing shade. We ain't throwing shade.
All of us have been there.
We've all been there, man. We've all been there.
Absolutely.
We've all loved in an immature way.
Yeah.
We've all communicated in an immature way.
Yeah.
Right? We've all approached sex in an immature way.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? And so, but to that brother who feel like she's just supposed to get on board with you while you're being immature, no.
I ain't gonna have them.
So women are liberated now, and they're like, and when the women cross. When women get like 40 and they come back, so this woman has lost her identity. She's been a mother. She's had babies sucking off of her breast. She's has this. She's had that. She's had been everything to everyone. She's the Proverbs 31. She's sowing into you. Yeah, she's sowing into the children. Right. She's doing this and doing that. And then when she gets to the point where them children break a little bit and she comes back into herself.
Yeah.
If we ain't on your game, she's ready to step.
She is.
Because she's like, I can do bad. I mean, I don't even say do bad. They get empowered. And I've seen where these sisters are getting empowered, and they're coming, because we're changing every 5 or 10 years. And so, and I've seen that breakdown in friends and loved ones, where these women are getting empowered and they're growing, and they're like, okay. And it's like, we got to go back, and we have to, like you said, we have to honor and love the wife of our youth, and and go back and love that woman the right way. Sometimes you have to be humble. You have to humble yourself and baby, listen, I'm sorry, I repent.
Yeah.
Forgive me.
I mean, 28 years, it ain't, I'm not 28 years like it's all been gravy, because I've had to eat a lot of crow.
Right.
And I mean, so I'm like, man, and now it's like, okay, I'm learning and trying to do better and be better, because man, I want to make another 28. I want another 20, at least another 22 years to give us that 50. But I'm like, man, and so we got to grow, we got to change, because my wife is empowered now, and she's like,
she's growing,
and these women,
she's striving, and you know, I mean, a lot of opportunity is out there for women now.
Yeah.
And so as men, we got to make sure that we're on our game as kings,
Right.
so that we're not a hindrance to their growth, so that we're not envious of that growth. That's a whole nother conversation right there.
Definitely.
Right? But, you know, we're coming alongside of them and supporting their dream and their vision, just like they did ours.
Absolutely.
you have to.
Just like they did ours. And so I want us to, and listen, we can go all day long about this, but let's end it right here, man. We know we got more questions. We got more topics. Y'all fellas down for a part 2?
Oh, yeah.
Man, we need it.
Absolutely.
All right. So, yeah. So listen, we're going to come back with a part 2, man. This has been amazing.
Yeah.
Again, thank y'all so much, man.
Thank you for having us,
importation.
man. Yeah.
Listen, if you are that husband that is struggling in your marriage, you're trying to figure out how to navigate and how to move forward, man, I just want to encourage you to find a brother that is like-minded, that loves the institution of marriage, that wants to see marriage be a success, and look to him and glean from him. And most importantly, man, cultivate that relationship with God and let him teach you and show you how to be the king that he has created and predestined you to be.
Yeah.
And so listen, until we see you guys next time, next Wednesday, same time, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, be on the lookout for part 2 of Man Talk. We love y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in.
Yes,
Peace.
sir.